So 2 months ago we started the new Twinscape experiment. 2 identical tanks but both with a different substrate. Tank number 1 got my favorite soil of all time, Aquasoil from Aquarium. And tank number 2 got a substrate that I've never used before, pond soil. Now if you haven't watched any of the previous videos, I'll leave links to that in the top right corner of the screen and in the video description. Definitely check that out. Both tanks got off to a great start, and during the first 10 days the plant growth was pretty much identical. But even though the plants were growing at the same speed, I was starting to notice a nutrient deficiency in the tank with the pond soil. The leaves of the Monte Carlo and the giant baby tears were starting to look very pale, and some of the leaves were falling off. After some water testing we discovered that this was probably a nitrate deficiency. This was not a complete surprise because the nutrient rich pond soil was kept with a layer of inert gravel. So it's a lot harder for those nutrients to enter the water column, especially compared to the Aquasol. Of course all of this could be solved just by adding some liquid fertilizer, but that would mess up with the experiment. So I decided not to do that. Instead I decided to add some fish to both tanks. So I went to my local fish store and bought these beautiful tiger antler guppies, as well as some other cinclus. These fish will produce a very small amount of waste, which will act as fertilizer for the plants. So that was pretty much how we ended the last update video of this experiment, which was already more than a month ago now. So both tanks are now up and running for 47 days, so almost 2 months. So almost 2 months with high light, CO2 injection and no liquid fertilizers, just the nutrients from the substrate. And honestly, I'm really surprised by how good both tanks look, since they've just only had the nutrients from the substrate. So let's first take a look at the Aquasol aquarium. I mean, how good does this look, guys? We have a full carpet of Monte Carlo, we have beautiful red stems in the background, and the moss went absolutely crazy as well. I have to confess that I did do a little cleaning session yesterday, but honestly there was barely any algae visible whatsoever. There was a little bit of green dust algae on the glass and some brown algae on the filter inlet and outlet, but that was it. So I'm really happy with the results here. I kind of expected that it would look like this with such good plant growth, because I've been using Aquasol for a long time. I know that it has a lot of nutrients, especially the Aquasol is full of nutrients, so I kind of knew that we would have good plant growth even without liquid fertilizer. But still, to see these results after 2 months, it's quite amazing. So let's actually go over the plants in a little bit more detail, because there's a few things that I want to point out. The stems in the background, the Rotala orange juice and the Ludwigia repens, they look really good, right? But they're not super tall. And I've trimmed them on day 17. So that's 30 days ago that I trimmed the stems. And it took them 30 days to grow this short, this long. What do you guys think? So the colors are super vibrant, they're looking really healthy. But yeah, they've just been growing very slowly. And I'm sure if I would start adding liquid fertilizer in here, they would grow a lot faster, of course. Well, I kind of like the slow growth. It means less maintenance for me. And then the moss. It grew a lot, it really definitely grew a lot, but it's not super vibrant green. I don't think the camera is really picking it up. I'll show you the comparison in the dirted tank in a moment. The moss is just not super vibrant green. I think it's definitely missing some nutrients there. It's definitely still keeps on growing. It basically swallowed up all the Phyllanthus. You can barely see them anymore. Then of course the carpet. So the carpet is looking really good. I haven't trimmed it at all yet. So this is just 47 days of growth. Slow and steady. There is a little bit of black brush algae in there, but it's weird. It's super light. Also here on the wood you can see a little bit of black brush algae. It's more like gray brush algae now. I'm not sure why it disappeared, because I'm injecting quite a lot of CO2. So I'm kind of surprised to see black brush algae in here. There is no black brush algae in the dirted tank, which I'll show you in a minute. Then the other plants, we have the Marsilea hirsuta, that's the clover looking type plant. Came all the way to the front here, also from this side. That one has definitely been growing very fast. That's good. So the giant baby tears have been growing very horizontally, and because of that it kind of suffocated the Hygrophila Araguaia. That's the red stem that you still kind of see there. So that's a bit of a bummer. I would like to have a bit more red in that corner, but yeah, that's Mother Nature. Nothing we can do about that. So yeah, I think that's all the plants. Then the fish. So the guppies have been doing really good. In the other tank, the dirty tank, the guppies have been making some babies. In here I haven't seen any babies just yet. And the Olosynchus that were in here, I've taken them out. They were only in here temporarily just to help with the early startup algae issues. And after that I moved them to the big shallow, so they're now all in there. Yeah, guppies doing good. So I haven't seen any babies in here. I've also added new fish to the aquarium. Don't know if you can see them. Ah, there he is. So over here we have a male scarlet badis, or dario, whatever you want to call them. So I actually bought, I think, 3 or 4 males quite a long time ago, like a few months back. And the thing with these guys is that they're usually only males for sale. Like sometimes you think you found a female and then it's just a subdominant male that just hasn't colored up yet. So I bought 4 of them and I've added them all to my forest style aquascape. So they were in there together, not really getting along. So I moved this guy to this aquarium and I moved another guy to the dirty tank as well. And just 2 weeks ago I went to a local fish shop and I found a few females, just by accident, just very lucky. They were actually labeled as females as well, so they should be, if everything's correct. I don't see any right now. I see, there she is. So that behind the male there should be a female. At least I hope so. So we should have 2 females in here and then 1 male. So that is the current stocking, 3 scarlet badis, 4 endler guppies, and then we have some cherry shrimp as well. So it would be really cool if we could get some breeding action going on from these scarlet badis. I've never actually managed to get any babies from them because I never found any females. So that'd be awesome. So yeah, that's the current situation in the Aquasol aquarium. So let's move on to the dirty tank. So yeah, this is the current situation in the dirty tank. I think it also looks really good. Almost identical to the Aquasol aquarium, just a carpet. So we have a little issue here with the carpet. I already pointed it out in the first update video as well. This is my own mistake. When I was setting up the substrate system for this aquarium, I moved the dirt too far away from the front glass. And now the roots of the Monte Carlo are just not finding those nutrients. And I think that's why it's just not really growing properly, because there's very little nutrients in the water column because we're not dosing any liquid fertilizers. There's no nutrients below the roots as well. So yeah, this kind of sucks. It's my own fault, but there's nothing we can do about it anymore. So if we look at the stem plants in the background, I would say that they almost grown taller than the ones in the Aquasol aquarium. And they do look a little bit more pale. So if we look at the plants from the surface here, see they're a little bit palish. And if we take a look at the ones over here, see they're a bit more vibrant orange red. So there's a small difference there. The moss, I think the moss in here actually looks better than the moss in the Aquasol aquarium. So here is a lot more vibrant green compared to the other aquarium. See, it's only a small difference, but yeah, I'd say there is definitely a difference in the just how vibrant it looks. But yeah, also here the moss went absolutely crazy. The Bucephalandras are barely visible. So yeah, we already talked about the Monte Carlo, but here you can see it close up. It just doesn't look very healthy. It's just not growing, and it's a real shame. I kind of thought that even with CO2 and just still good light, it would still grow. I mean, there's still some nutrients in the water column, but yeah, it just doesn't want to. Actually, let's take a look from the side. So here we have the giant baby tears, and as you can see, it hasn't been growing as much as in the Aquasol aquarium, and because of that, the Hygrophila Araguaia is actually looking a lot better here. It's a lot more growth. So I think we can all agree that the plants in here are looking very lush, even though they have just been relying on the nutrients from the substrate. You can kind of see the roots going down here from the Marsilea. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with my first dirty tank. Regarding the fish, we have the exact same stocking here. We have the tiger endler guppies. Only in here we have 1 extra female, so we have 2 males, 3 females. And they've been breeding. I've seen a few babies already, and I've managed to catch 1, which I've moved to my planted vase, which we have here, looking really good as well. And oh, there it is. So there's the guppy baby. So I'm gonna keep an eye on the dirty tank, and if we have more babies, I'm definitely gonna scoop them out and add them to the vase. Would be nice to have a few more of them. Yeah, then the scarlet bodies, we have 1 male and 2 female in here as well. The males over there, females are probably hiding right now. And then we have some cherry shrimp, that's it. One thing you might have noticed with the dirty tank is that the CO2 is currently not working. So this ran out like a few days ago. I'm using the citric acid and baking soda system on this aquarium. So it finished, but luckily the postman just came and brought me a big bucket of citric acid. This is like a kilo. Should last me a full year, so time to get it refilled now. So I'm really surprised by how well these 2 tanks have developed in the past few weeks. I honestly did not expect that the dirty tank would be able to keep up with the growth in the Aquasol aquarium, but it definitely did. Now one thing I haven't done in a long time actually is water tests. So I think that's what we should do next, because I'm curious to see if we can figure out why the moss in the Aquasol aquarium looks worse than in the dirty tank. And also the stems in here look a bit more pale than over there. So maybe we can figure something out by doing some water tests, so let's do that right now. Okay, so here we have the nitrate test. As you can see, both are completely zero. There's no nitrates in the water column. I think even if there is some nitrates being released by the substrate, the plants will immediately pick it up, you know, so yeah, nothing to see here. Next up, I'm going to test the phosphate, and I think also the iron. Maybe we will see something there, but I don't really have high hopes. Okay, so this is actually interesting. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but on your left here, this is the dirty tank, and on the right, this is the Aquasol tank. So the dirty tank has a higher phosphate content compared to the Aquasol tank. So that was interesting. I did not expect that. Honestly, I thought I would not see any phosphate levels. I thought everything is in substrate and nothing is in the water column, but we definitely have some phosphate levels in the water. Okay guys, we have another interesting result. I think I should do these water tests more often. But here we have the iron test, and this is the dirty tank. It's completely clear, there's no color. So 0 milligrams per liter of iron in the dirty tank. And here we have Aquasol tank with, I think that's 0.5 milligrams of iron per liter. So that's interesting. I did not expect that. Okay, that was interesting. So the Aquasol tank has a higher iron content. So I guess that kind of explains why the stems in there are looking a little bit more lush, more colorful. And the dirty tank has a higher phosphate level. So is that why the moss in there is looking more vibrant than in that one? I'm not sure about that. I have to do more research on that. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps up this update on this experiment. Now I do need your help. I think we need to decide what's next. Are we going to keep this experiment going for longer, or is it time to start something new? I mean, it's almost end of the year. New year, new experiment. I'm not sure actually. So I want to ask you guys what do you think we should do. So let me know in the comments. Should we start a new experiment, or should we keep this one going for longer? As always guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to smash that like button, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.